Joining us this evening is Vasudha Venugopal from New Delhi, who tracks the BJP very closely, and also Ratnadeep Chaudhary from Guwahati, who's been tracking the situation in Manipur as well. But first to you, Vasudha, it seems to be that the Prime Minister has set the tone for the 2024 election campaign. What's the big takeaway for the BJP, and what's next as far as the party is concerned politically?
Well, I think, Veera, the Prime Minister covered a lot of ground today in his speech in the Parliament. Basically, of course, when he started speaking on Manipur, the opposition did walk out. But in his speech before that, he covered a lot of points which I think would form the fulcrum of the BJP's campaign in the run-up to 2024. There are 5 or 6 points which I think I can talk to you about. And one is basically the way he talked about Darbarwad or dynasty-led politics. This is something that the BJP has often targeted the Gandhi family with, and that I think is also going to be an important point here, because today the PM talked about the way Jawaharlal Nehru or Indira Gandhi handled the crisis in Northeast, and how Darbarwad, or a feudal way of working, something that he alleged that the Gandhi family practices, has been responsible for the way many stalwarts in the country have actually not been able to find their place in history. And this includes people like B.R. Ambedkar or Sardar Patel and many people like that. He also talked about the fault lines within the opposition that a lot of us are also aware of, because 26 parties with very different characters have come together, and the PM said that 26 parties have come together, but they are trying to brand a damaged car as an electric vehicle. That doesn't mean that the nature of the vehicle is going to change. So this is something that he talked about, specifically saying that this in India front, the two I's stand for the arrogance of these parties. He called them Ghamandiya, which is a take on India, and he also India, the party that the parties are calling themselves by that name now. And he also talked especially on the arrogance of the Gandhi family. This is something that he has talked about in the past, but he put it all together today. And the third important point is, of course, the cultural oneness of the country, and this is where he attacked the DMK. And this is something that you would be interested in, because he spoke about E.V. Velu, the minister's comment on India being some place in northern India, which of course raised a lot of criticism. The Prime Minister said that Tamil Nadu is a place that has given birth to a lot of Bhakti traditions, and has actually given birth to a lot of leaders and icons like APJ Abdul Kalam or Rajaji, or for that matter, even Kamaraj. And, ministers should be careful while talking about it. And so cultural oneness is something that the Prime Minister talked about today, the North-South divide. This is going to be important in the run-up to 2024. Of course, what I think is the most important thing is also the way he reprimanded the opposition for not coming up with a formidable narrative to counter his governance, or for that matter, even to give him some sort of constructive feedback. This probably was his attack also on Rahul Gandhi, which he made it very clear about, and he's talked about many of the statements that he made, including Lanka that was not burnt by Hanuman. He said it was burnt by arrogance, and that is probably what led to the Congress party falling to 44 seats. So he basically talked about this incompetence of the opposition, and also the inability to understand social aspirations. Yeah.
Right, Vasudha, what about the substantive takeaway as far as Manipur is concerned? I believe we've lost the line with Ratnadeep as well. Is there anything significantly substantial that one can take away as far as the Manipur situation is? I understand that the political impact that you're pointing out is very important. Perhaps the opposition gifted the Prime Minister this platform, as the Prime Minister mentioned in his own speech, saying that opposition is throwing no balls after no balls. But what about the fundamental political situation in Manipur? How do we construe what the Prime Minister has said as far as ground realities there and in terms of going forward there?
See, I think the Prime Minister was very confident and optimistic and hopeful while talking about Manipur. At the same time, he was not aggressive. His speech on Manipur was towards the end, and he made it very clear that he was taking off from what Amit Shah spoke yesterday. The Home Minister actually gave a 2-hour long speech on Manipur yesterday. A large part of it was dedicated to Manipur, and he said that Manipur is a state that he has travelled extensively. Northeast is Jigar ka tukda. That is what he said. It's very important for his for his government, and it is his personal commitment and also his government's commitment to ensure that peace and progress returns to Manipur. And he said that he was very optimistic of a solution coming to the fore very soon. And for this, he also talked about opposition parties also joining hands with the government and thinking about exploring possibilities of a solution. And here in this regard, he talked about the Congress's sort of like handling of unrest in the northeast region, and he in fact very openly blamed the Congress for the kind of unrest that has happened in this northeast region. And he said ever since he has sort of taken over as PM, he has actually given this region a lot of thought, and that is something that he said. And taking off from what Amit Shah said, he has already met the cookie groups yesterday. So both Prime Minister and Home Minister seemed quite hopeful of some sort of solution, of a settlement coming to the fore very soon.